Okay guys, hello and good morning everyone. Welcome to JFD Brokers Traders Espresso with me, Darius Anucauskas. Today is the 19th of December 2018, so welcome everyone. Welcome to this Wednesday's morning session where we're going to have a look at the markets, a few charts as always. But before we look at that, let's quickly have a read through our risk disclaimer. So, the content we produce does not constitute investment advice or investment recommendation, should not be considered as such, and does not in any way constitute an invitation to acquire any financial instrument or product. As always, a few seconds for you to read the rest and we can continue. Okay, so now then, let's jump into the charts. Now, the first one I want to touch on is the FTSE 100 here. So yesterday, the equity markets have sold off a little bit. So looking at this FTSE here, you can see that it went lower, still closed the day just kind of slightly above these highs, or these lows that we saw here around the 6th of December. For now, looking at the FTSE cash index, we're seeing a bit of a correction here to the upside. So if I'll just quickly jump into the 4-hour chart, so in a way, we could see maybe a bit of a correction here to the upside. Certainly, that's only in the case if this area here around the 6,675 level is going to continue to hold. If it breaks, then yep, further declines could be possible. We could be starting to, well, we could form another lower low here, but for now, and as long as it remains above this 6,675 level, we're going to aim for higher levels. So I do apologize for my voice here. So basically, in other words, guys, you can, in a way, what you could do is keep an eye on this little area here around the 6,720 zone. Now, if the index manages to get back above this, then certainly this could mean that maybe it's not really willing to sell off further down here. We could maybe see a bit of a climb here, back up here towards the 6,790 level, which was marked here by the high intraday high of the 17th of December and the low of the 14th of December. So quite an interesting level this one could be, but again, if the bulls only will see that as a temporary pit stop for themselves, then yep, we could see a further acceleration here towards the 6,850 level, which kind of in a way acted as a very nice area of resistance and support. Both also acted as very strong support here back in October time. So quite an interesting level that becomes the 6,850. But again, I'll repeat myself, we need to see a nice good curve up here back above the 6,720 level, and then we'll then we'll consider a further acceleration here to the upside towards these higher levels. On the downside, once again, a break below the 6,675 level could mean that the index is preparing to form some new lower lows. But again, judging right now for what we're seeing on the cash index, we're seeing a bit of a retracement here to the upside. So let's see how that plays out further out today. Jumping into US oil, which is WTI, and looking at this one, this is not really looking quite good, or in other words, quite healthy. So we managed to break through this range here. We managed to break it through the lower side of it, and of course now we're continuing to slide further down here. So we do have some good potential areas of support here. The first one that it's already not far from, it's the 45.6765 area, approximately there. And just kind of to show you what that level was here back in the past. So this level here, it was the low of August, basically the lowest point of August in last year. So quite an interesting and important level this is. The 45.67 area, 67, 65 approximately there, So you can in a way keep an eye on that one, because if looking at this daily chart, even look at how we're overextended here to the downside. Certainly the weakness is still, you can feel the weakness here, but further declines could be possible, especially if we get a break below this 45.65 area. Then we could aim and target the 43.75 approximately here, which was marked here by the lows of the 7th of July. So there are some good potential areas on the downside. Again, looking at this 4-hour chart here, we are quite oversold here a little at the moment, but then again, it doesn't really mean that it will reverse straight away here back up and go higher. Certainly keep that idea in mind, but for us, from the very short-term perspective, in a way, what we will be looking at here is this 47 level, which is around the pivot here today. So a nice good push back above it could potentially lead towards a bit of a more correction here towards the R1, which is around the 48.35 level, or even actually going back up to towards this this area right here at around 49.25, which was marked here by the lows of the 29th of November, and also acted as a nice area of resistance here, and it acted as a nice intraday swing high here of yesterday. So for now, guys, be very careful. Keep an eye on this 45.65 area, approximately there. If it struggles to overcome it, if it struggles to drop below this, then yep, we could see maybe a bit of a correction here back to the upside. Well, of course, we'll aim for this pivot here today, and this is, I'm talking about only today, guys. So be very careful, because the overall outlook here is still negative, and we would probably need to see this one traveling higher here, much higher, or maybe even actually getting back above the 50 level in order to kind of consider a possible reversal here in the trend. So but for now, be very careful, be very cautious, and we could potentially squeeze something out of it potentially today. Looking at silver, another commodity, this one, looking at this 4-hour chart, so it continues to climb higher. The only problem here is lately it's kind of failing to create new higher highs. So at the moment, it's stuck here between this little area here. Let me just quickly mark that for our future reference. So in a way, it's a bit of a tentative upside line here that I'm drawing. You kind of do it better on your chart, guys, but for now, you can see that this is what's happening here. It's trying to push higher, but it's kind of getting held here, and it's kind of coiling up right now within this I cannot really call it a triangle formation, but nevertheless, it's kind of getting into a squeeze a little bit. So if it gets a nice pop here to the upside, and we start clearing this little area here of resistance, let me just quickly mark that. If we were going to get a clear this break above the 14.72 level, approximately there, this could potentially lead towards a little bit higher levels, and the a little bit higher levels that I'm talking about are this recent high, which we saw around the 13th of December, and that was approximately around the 14.80 level. Now a nice good break above that could send this this commodity further up here towards the 14.910 level, approximately there, which kind of acted as a very strong area of resistance back here back in November and also back in October. So quite an important level this becomes. But again, for us to kind of consider that this area here, we need to see a nice good push here above this, in a way, a little tentative downside resistance line, and also a nice good break above the 14.72 level, where we then will aim for the 14.80, and if that fails as well, then yep, this is where it could open the path towards this higher level. On the downside, if this decides to drop back down here, so in a way, that's what I was saying, guys, this tentative upside support line, you shouldn't probably really focus that much on it. So in a way, what you should be looking at probably is this little low here around the 14.58 mark. Now if this is going to drop below this, then let me just get rid of this line here. If this gets broken, if the 14.58 gets broken, now this could be opening the path towards the 14.47 area approximately here, which was marked here by the lows of the 14th of December. And if that doesn't hold, well, I mean, this could continue traveling further down here towards this little area of support near the 14.32, which was marked by the lows of the 6th of December. So again, for now, guys, if I'll just quickly put some arrows here for our future reference, we're going to be very cautious with this one. We're going to just go step by step and see how it performs, because as you can see, it does like to move sometimes sideways. So that's why we're just gonna aim for these closer levels first, and then we'll consider further moves if we reach those levels. So that's what basically the scenario could be right now on silver. Quickly wanted to touch on Ripple. Now, yesterday I was talking about this in my Traders Espresso, and I was basically telling you guys that we were trading at the time of the analysis, kind of at the time of the Traders Espresso, we were trading around here basically, and I was telling you guys to keep a close eye on this potential area of support here near the 0.33 level. I mean, it didn't even actually reach that, so the crypto managed to quickly reverse back up here, managed to wipe out this key resistance area near the 0.3545. It opened the path towards this 200 EMA, and the crypto kind of hang around a little bit here and continue to push higher. So today we're seeing this this move already to the upside. Certainly also we're seeing this retracement as well, but again, keep your eyes on this R1 right now, the around the 0.3715 mark, something like that, approximately there. So if this fails to drop below this, then we could see another curve here back to the upside, and this is where again we'll aim for a break of these highs near the 0.39 level. So if we do get a nice pop above the 0.39, then we could start targeting the level that I was talking about yesterday as well. In a way, it could be a psychological 0.40 level, or just call it a nice round number, 0.40. So for now, if this suddenly decides to drop back down and drops below the 200 EMA, or even actually goes all the way to drop below the 0.3545 level, now this could be a bit of a warning sign here for the bulls, and they could potentially start abandoning the field, and we could see further declines back down here towards the 0.33 level or even lower. So for now, it's still kind of looking more to the bullish side, but again, let's see where if it wants to continue traveling higher, let's see where it will find its support, and if it doesn't, then be very careful here, and we could see maybe some more a bit of a slide here lower, especially if it breaks below the 0.3545 level. Jumping into GBPUSD, so do have an eventful day today. So we do have the UK CPI is coming out here, so be very cautious. So probably until that comes out, just to kind of let you know, that's around 9:30 GMT time. So we do have some time still till then, but at the moment you can see that it's still trading below this downside resistance line taken from the high of the 7th of November. It's also not far from this key area key level of 2660 level. Now I was talking about this one in my previous videos, and I was telling you guys to keep a close eye on this 1.2660 level, because it kind of is, in the past you can see how it perfectly acted as a nice area of support here, especially back here in August time, and also continued to kind of hold the rate from dropping lower, up until the 10th of December, and from where it kind of slid here lower and found a support near the 2476, from which it kind of bounced back up here, and now it's hanging around this 1.2660 level again. So basically, long story short, guys, keep on watching this, because if we get a nice pop here above this downside resistance line, now this could be a game changer here, and we could see maybe a bit of a bit more higher levels getting hit. So this is where we will aim. If we get a nice push here above the above these highs here that we already saw today, around the 126.80 level. Now if a nice good push above the 126.80 could open the path towards the R1 here, which was around the 100 EMA, and that's approximately around the 126.90. Of course, I do understand it's only about 10 pips away, but with this pair we need to be very careful. And if we start breaking the 127.10 level now, or 127.05 approximately there, now this is where it could become more interesting for the bulls, and we could see further acceleration to the upside here, where we could then aim for the highs that we saw here around the 128.40 level, and which were around seen on the 4th of December. So also it coincides with the R3 here. Certainly quite a big jump here for this pair, but nevertheless everything's possible, and we could see some good movement here today. So yep, be very careful with this. If this suddenly decides to move back down here and drops below the 126.10 level, certainly be very careful, because this could be opening the path towards the lows that we saw here around the 14th of December, near the 125.30. This could be a nice potential area of support, initial support, but if it will decide to continue traveling further down, then yep, we could see maybe a retest of this low that we saw here around the 11th of December. But for now, let's just go step by step and see what it wants to do today. Again, be very careful with the news today. So yep, we could see maybe a bit of more activity than we're seeing right now. Looking at the USDCAD, so basically this one yesterday had a nice pop here to the upside, managed to reach this hit this upper side of the rising channel here. So certainly you can see the Canadian dollar is kind of on the more on the weak side, in a way where we're seeing a bit of kind of retracement back up here right now. So it's kind of trying to push away from this pivot around the 134.50 level. So if this continues to remain here, now this is where it could become interesting, because we could see maybe another push higher here, and if this gets broken, if the upper bound of the rising channel gets broken, then this of course opens the path towards much higher levels. We could then target the R1 here near the 135.07 level approximately there, or even actually going all the way here towards the R2, which is around the 135.55 approximately there. But again, for now, be very careful. Even if this is gonna retrace back down, let's say if this decides to drop below the pivot here, now still keep a close eye on this little in a way tentative upside support line here. Probably it could provide maybe a bit of support. If this drops below the 134.50 level, then yep, keep on monitoring this 134.25 marked here by the highs of the 11th of December. But if this continues to slide further down, yes, I mean, we could see maybe a retest of the 134 level. But then again, be very careful here, because it could get held here. Like I said, we do have this little tentative upside support line here, so be very careful. We could see maybe a bit of a rebound from this one and a push back up again. So for now, be very cautious, be very careful. And we do have the Canadian numbers coming out here today as well. We do have the Canadian inflation numbers as well, so we could see some good movement later on today. But again, don't forget to have your stop loss in place. Okay guys, I hope you found it useful, and thank you very much for watching and listening. And if you want to join me later on in my Traders Tea Time, and that's 14:15 GMT time. But for now, I hope you have a fantastic trading day. Bye bye now.